first week of Pokemon Champions tournaments are done. I just got out of the shower. Let's go over some tournament results and talk about how the metagame is shaping up. All right, we're going to start off in chronological order. The first tournament we're going to be taking a look at is the Champions Hub tournament hosted by Himi and Nino Pokebros. Now, this tournament had a pretty decent prize pool. It was a $500 prize pool, and that was pretty big for like the first day that the game came out. And looking at the first tournament, we can actually see the standings, and this tournament was won by Mega Delphox. However, this is going to be the tournament that we look at for like an early metagame perspective, as while we are still in the first week of Pokemon Champions, I think just acknowledging that the first day won't be reflective of the rest of the format is good. But we do need to take a look at where we started. As you can see, Delphox won the whole thing. This team was ran by Gambling VGC 92. We have a Focus Sash Sneasler with Dire Claw, Close Combat, Fake Out, Protect. We have a King Gambit with Black Glasses, the Sword Stance set. We have a Redirection user in Follow Me, Clefable with Unaware. We have Delphox, Substitute Heatwave, Psychic, and Protect, Lumberry, Dragonite, and Basculegion. Now, the one thing I want to point out is Dragonite. Dragonite is a very solid Pokemon in this metagame, and I think a lot of people undersold just how powerful Scale Shot would be. Dragonite used to have access to Scale Shot with Loaded Dice. Now, Loaded Dice was a very powerful tool because it would allow for Dragonite to hit its Scale Shots 4 to 5 times. 25 base power move times 4 is 100 base power, sometimes 125 base power before stab or anything. Dragonite doesn't have access to the Loaded Dice anymore, so Scale Shot will be 2 to 5 times, not 4 to 5, you know, if it lands in the first place, because it can miss. That's the other big downside. But its combination of the Lumberry with multi-scale, making it so it doesn't take full damage from full health, means that Dragonite is actually like a really solid pick into Charizard Sun teams, which is like the team that is giving people the most issue at the start of this format. We'll see Charizard Sun slowly become less and less powerful as we go through the rest of these tournaments as time went on. However, it is still one of the top archetypes, if not like the top archetype right now. That being said, I don't think Sun is ever going to beat Balance. Balance has basically always been the best tournament, or Balance has always had like the best tournament results in VGC. Okay, so Dragonite, like I said, is able to Scale Shot, outspeed things, and then just deal major damage. This Dragonite was running Haze, Extreme Speed, Scale Shot, and Protect. However, I have seen a lot of Dragonite teching on Tailwind or other just third attacking moves to make sure that they're able to take a better advantage of that speed stat. Scale Shot plus Tailwind Dragonite has actually been a really solid staple of Regulation H VGC, but we're not in Scarlet and Violet anymore. But yeah, other things that did well in this tournament, of course, we have Charizard Sun. We can see Charizard, Whimsicott, Farigiraf, Sneasler, Garchomp, and King Gambit. And we have Semper in third with Charizard Sun. However, this Sun team takes advantage of Basculegion. We have a Farigiraf as well, Kangaskhan, and Sneasler. I'm assuming that's a Mega Kangaskhan. Yeah, it's going to be Fake Out, Double Edge, Drain Punch, and Sucker Punch. One of the fun things about Mega Kangaskhan is you actually do just get value from it before it Mega Evolves. Scrappy Fake Out is a very powerful tool, and making it so Kangaskhan can't get intimidated before it Mega Evolves, and you're able to Fake Out opposing Basculegion, who can threaten one-shots in a lot of Pokemon, is a really powerful option. But yeah, the rest of this tournament, we can actually just take a look at the metagame. Incineroar is the #1 Pokemon in the format, as we all know. Sneasler is #2. Sinistcha. Something you need to know about this format is Sinistcha at the start has been the premier Trick Room and support Pokemon. There's a few reasons for this, but it mostly boils down to Sinistcha being able to redirect attacks into itself with its really solid defense stats. Let me actually open up Showdown real quick so I can give you guys a visual. As you can see, Sinistcha has some pretty solid bulk overall, 71 HP, 106 defense, and 80 special defense. Sinistcha is able to just max out its HP stat. You know, you can invest 32 points into there, and put a little bit of like defense in there and a little bit of special defense, whatever you want to live on the physical side. And then you either opt for a Citrus Berry, or in my experience, one of the best options is Occaberry, because Occaberry allows for you to live hits from Charizard Y and go for Trick Room in front of them, allowing for your partner King Gambits and other like slower attackers to just deal major damage to everything on the other side of the field. But yeah, Sinistcha has been very strong. As we look at the Sinistcha here, we can see that the one on this team was running Citrus Berry, the one on the 7th place team was running Citrus Berry as well, and the one on the 3rd place team, or on the 10th place team, was running the leftovers. But yeah, this early tournament was really interesting. We could see like just people running what they knew would be strong. I did find it surprising that Delphox won the very first tournament of this metagame, but we haven't quite seen that same success carry forward, at least not to the same level, because there are still Delphoxes doing really good in tournaments right now, but I don't think one has won a tournament since then. Next up, we have the Champions Cup, which was a $1,000 prize pool. This one was won by Charizard Y. However, what I don't want to draw attention to is the use of Mega Floette and the use of Aerodactyl. These two Pokemon have been really, really strong in this metagame. I could talk about Mega Floette for days, to be honest. Fairy Aura boosted Moonblast off of its absurd special attack stat. Let me just pull this up for you guys really quick. Mega Floette has 155 base special attack, making it stronger than Xerneas. Its Moonblasts are stronger than Xerneas, and it's just a Pokemon that you can use in a non-restricted format. It's got really high speed, it speed ties with Garchomp, and really high special defense, and a decent HP stat and decent defenses, meaning that you can just invest in its defenses to tank hits and just ride off your naturally high special attack stat. It doesn't really need a lot of investment. But yeah. Basically, Mega Floette is a broken Pokemon, but we need to take a look at Aerodactyl. Aerodactyl holds a really important place in this format as the single fastest Tailwind user, I believe. Let me see, am I wrong? I'm fairly certain Aerodactyl is the fastest Tailwind user. I mean, besides Mega Aerodactyl and Mega Beedrill, but we don't really count those guys. Yeah, Aerodactyl is the fastest Tailwind user at 130 base speed, but its 105 attack stat comboed with Unnerve are what really sell this guy. Dual Wing Beat allows for Aerodactyl to outspeed and one-shot Whimsicott and Sneasler. Dual Wing Beat bypasses the Focus Sash because it hits twice and it's super effective against them. It has Rock Slide, which it can use against Charizard's Sun, as it will outspeed the whole team after you get the Tailwind up. Of course, you need Tailwind here. And then your final move is typically Wide Guard or Protect. Wide Guard is a really, really good move right now, as Rock Slide, Heat Wave, Dazzling Gleam, those spread moves are everywhere. And Wide Guard blocking spread moves for you and your partner is super, super strong. But another big thing about Aerodactyl that makes it so strong right now is that we have such a limited item pool. In fact, if I just open up the item pool here, we can see that the items that are available to us are like some of the basic competitive items, but most of them are actually berries, resist berries, citrus berries, that sort of thing. Aerodactyl's ability Unnerve makes it so opposing Pokemon can't eat their berries. However, there is a bug right now, and sometimes they can. We don't know why. But yeah, Aerodactyl has really impressive stats. Sorry if my camera's in the wrong spot. It's hard to get it in the right spot for both this and this, but we're mostly looking at tournament standings, so yeah. But yeah, Aerodactyl is super strong. It pairs well with Garchomp because it's a flying type. You're able to spam Earthquake next to it. It has a good matchup into Sun teams, has a good matchup into even Floette, being able to Wide Guard and that sort of thing and deal major damage off of, not major damage, but like respectable damage off of Rock Slide, since Floette has a lower defense stat. Regular Aerodactyl is a phenomenal Pokemon right now. This tournament was won by Arekusabi. And yeah, it just seems like a pretty standard Kingambit Charizard Y Sun team. The second place team, it was Desu. This person was actually running a Corviknight, which is a really solid pick right now considering what's strong. Of course, Rock Slide spammers like Aerodactyl and Garchomp, who has Dragon, Ground, and Rock moves typically. Corviknight is able to wall out that, as well as being able to wall out opposing Floette. Corviknight is a really good pick right now. Ironhead, Brave Bird, Bulk Up, Roost. It's a difficult Pokemon to break through because a lot of teams pretty much just have Incineroar if they're not running like Charizard Y specifically. Like Incineroar is your best option into Corviknight, if not your Rotom, whichever Rotom form you decide to run. But yeah, you usually have only one Pokemon that can deal with Corviknight, and that makes Corviknight a really strong win condition right now. It's got a couple of ways you can use it. This seems like just the old school bulk up version, but I do think that Tailwind Corviknight is a really solid pick right now. And you could honestly opt for like Ironhead, Brave Bird, Tailwind, and Taunt if you really wanted to. It does learn Taunt, right? I want to double check I'm not talking crazy. Fairly certain Corviknight learns Taunt. Yeah, you can go for like a more supportive set and you would still get like value out of that. Yeah, Corviknight's a very solid Pokemon in the metagame right now. This channel is partnered with GamerSupps. If you want to support my work and get great tasting drinks, you can order GamerSupps through my link in the description down below, or with code Moxie boosted at checkout for 10% off. GamerSupps is a caffeinated product that I recommend only to my 18+ viewers, but my link will send you to their caffeine-free product section just in case. Every product purchased through my link supports my channel financially, so I'd really appreciate the support. Now back to the video. Third place, we just see like more Bascullegion, and there was a Cleavor that got third place right now. I actually didn't even see the Cleavor when I was preparing for this video. We have Focus Sash, Sharpness, Stone Axe, X Scissor, Tailwind, and Protect. I guess just intuitively, Cleavor is positioned pretty okay in this metagame. The Focus Sash is probably the item you want to run almost 100% of the time. Being able to Tailwind is a useful tool. It's got 85 base speed, and it has access to Rock Stab, which means it can one-shot Charizard and also set up rocks on the other side of the field. This is a pretty pivot-heavy metagame that relies a lot on Focus Sashes and has a couple of very powerful rock-weak Pokemon. So yeah, it does make intuitive sense that setting up Stealth Rocks with your attack, as inaccurate as it can be sometimes, is going to be just really good. Cleavor is an interesting pick for this metagame. Speaking of interesting picks, we had, well, I mean, I could talk about Benny V winning with Frostlass, but this is like a fairly standard Frostlass team. It ended up dropping Aurora Veil, which is the thing I really wanted to draw attention to here. Basically, Aurora Veil Frostlass might be a fraud. Maybe run Taunt and, like, you know, just 2 attacks. Because that's the only Frostlass I've seen with like a really good, respectable placement. But the weird Pokemon I wanted to talk about was Mega Golurk winning the Torneo Salida Pokemon Champions Tournament. And yeah, Mega Golurk is a strong Trick Room attacker. It has access to Headlong Rush, which is ground type close combat. It's unfake outable due to its ground typing. It has, I believe, 159 base attack, and it has access to Ice Punch, so you can actually hit Garchomp for really respectable damage through Protect. It gets cut to a quarter, but it's 4 times effective, so it's like hitting it with a neutral Ice Punch. Yeah, this team is really cool as it has just like it's Sunroom. Frankly, it's Sunroom. Now, we don't have After You Lilligant here to abuse, but Focus Sash Venusaur with Leaf Storm, Sludge Bomb, Sleep Powder, Charcoal Torkoal, just enabling that, allowing you to sleep Pokemon, go for massive damage off of Heat Wave, and Mega Golurk being able to take advantage of the Trick Room version of the team is just, it's intuitively a very, I keep saying intuitively, it's intuitively a very solid team. Farigiraf is able to block priority from the other side of the field, meaning that it can pretty easily get up Trick Room and then allow for Torkoal and Mega Golurk to do their thing. Mega Golurk is able to one-shot a lot of really important Pokemon. It can one-shot Incineroar without Shuca Berry, of course, after the Intimidate with Headlong Rush because of how powerful that move is. Poltergeist does insane amounts of damage to Mega Floette. I can actually show you right here. We'll throw that in the calc. We'll put Golurk up here, Mega Golurk, Mega Floette, Eternal, and keep in mind it can't Protect versus this, nor is it ever going to be immune because it's holding its Mega Stone. So Mega Golurk, 252 attack, Adamant Nature, and we give it the Poltergeist, and we give it Headlong Rush. Or sorry, it can't Protect against Headlong Rush, but usually want to click Poltergeist. Yeah. Let me give it its Mega Stone. We'll give it any item, actually, Ampharosite. You can see that Headlong Rush is just a one-shot to max HP Mega Floette, which is insane. That is a neutral move, one-shotting... Oh, wait, it has Iron Fist. Sorry, this ability's wrong. I was like, why is that one-shotting? That seems wrong. Headlong Rush is doing 80 to 95%. Poltergeist is doing 73 to 86%. That is very solid damage to Mega Floette. As you can see on this team, they have Helping Hand on the Farigiraf, meaning that you can do as much damage as possible under Trick Room. And I think that Trick Room Mega Golurk is really strong because one of the ways that hard Trick Room likes to play is you just go all out with your damage. You set up the Trick Room and you try to win with your Torkoal as quickly as possible. And the opponent just has to make sure that they don't lose before the Trick Room runs out. Mega Golurk is able to hit through Protect in Trick Room, meaning that when you quarter the damage and Unseen Fist, you know, you quarter the damage because Unseen Fist does a quarter through Protect, you're still chipping away at the opponent for 20, putting them in range for the next one. 80% minimum, they Protect on the first turn, that 80% gets cut down to 20, now the next one's a guaranteed KO. It's kind of crazy. And of course you have Helping Hand, so if you Helping Hand it with the Farigiraf, where's Helping Hand? Helping Hand, there it is. Helping Hand, now the Headlong Rush is going to be doing 120%, 120 divided by 4, that's 30% through Protect, and that is on the lower end. It could do 142, which, you know, it's like 35. So, yeah, this Mega Golurk is a very strong Pokemon in the format right now, and I think that this is one of the best hard Trick Room teams we've seen in a while. Well, not even hard Trick Room. It's like hard Trick Room in the way that it has Incineroar, Farigiraf, Torkoal, and Golurk, but you also have like the Sunroom version where you lead off Charcoal Torkoal with Venusaur, and you just go like Sneasler and Incineroar if you need to. But yeah, Overall, as far as we can tell in the metagame, yes, Incineroar, Sneasler, Sinistcha, those are the top 3. Garchomp, King Gambit, Charizard, these are like the big Pokemon you need to deal with. However, there's a lot of archetypes that are viable right now. I've seen Basculegion Rain do good. I've seen Basculegion on balance do good. King Gambit with like Mousehold support. We've seen Mousehold next to Floette. That's been an incredible composition so far. In fact, let's take a look at a Mousehold Floette team because I think I saw one earlier. Here it is. Mousehold Floette. David Y was running this team. Mousehold is a very solid Pokemon in the metagame right now because Mousehold has the ability Friend Guard. This cuts the damage taken by partner Pokemon to 3/4, basically kind of giving the opponent a permanent Intimidate or special Intimidate as long as Mousehold is on the field and they're not attacking Mousehold directly. Floette is able to now tank Iron Heads from King Gambit. It's now able to tank the Dire Claws from Sneaslers and more effectively go for its Calm Minds. Mousehold being faster than Floette will be able to go for Super Fang to cut the damage on opponents or to cut opponents HP in half, and then Dazzlebeam just picks up the rest of the health. Like, it's a really solid Pokemon. Aegislash is also in a pretty good spot in the metagame. Aegislash is an unflinchable steel type because of that partial ghost typing. It does tend to run physical right now just because Poltergeist is such absurd damage. However, you could make the case for special King Gambit or special Aegislash, but physical does get you a lot further since most Floette are running Calm Mind. It makes it so you don't have to worry about Calm Mind going up and you can't one-shot it. The Iron Head from Aegislash will one-shot Mega Floette because you're hitting it on its physical defense. Also, Rotom Wash, great Pokemon. This one's Citrus Berry, but I do want to point out that Choice Scarf is really good as it's allowing the partner Garchomp to outspeed Pokemon like Mega Gengar after Rotom Wash moves first due to the Choice Scarf and lowers the speed of opponents' Pokemon with Electro Web. So yeah, as of right now, there's a couple of top teams in the format. I would say that one of the teams that you should look out for the most is going to be this Talonflame, Garchomp, and Floette core. The last 3 Pokemon are kind of fluid. Aegislash, Mousehold, and Rotom is one of the most popular versions right now because Aaron Zhang showcased that team that the other player made. But I've seen versions with Rotom Wash and like Sinistcha to boost the health on Floette. Instead of like cutting the damage directly, you just have the Sinistcha pivot in and out to give it health back, and you also have redirection and stuff. But yeah, I would say like, oh, we also have to talk about Parish. Here, this is a good Parish team. Parish Kamoa is pretty solid. Basically, Kamoa has the ability Soundproof, allowing for it to partner really well with a Parish Song Gengar. Oh, this is not Parish Song Gengar. Okay, well, still, I've seen some teams like that. Apparently not in this tournament. But yeah, Parish Song Gengar, you trap things in. It's a broken Pokemon. You're able to prevent your opponents from switching. These teams, the Gengar teams, if I'm actually able to pull up one of these as an example. Gengar, Incineroar, MDB, you're Sugar Berry Incineroar, right? No, you're Pasho Berry. Want to use the Sugar Berry example. Here it is. Sugar Berry. Yeah. And, oh, this is an Overcoat Kamo. Interesting. Yeah, so this is a Parish Trap team. This one was by Chris VGC, who went 5-2 in this tournament. Gengar is a very powerful Parish Song Pokemon because its stats are so high that Gengar doesn't even necessarily have to invest in its like special attack to get value out of that Shadow Ball. You typically just want to bulk it out to make its longevity even better. You lead off Incineroar and Gengar, and a lot of games just come down to making sure that they don't have an answer to that, or like taking advantage that they don't have an answer to your Parish Song and dealing as much damage as you can. Basically, if you lead off with these two, you go for the Fake Out, you go for the Parish Song. If they have a Ghost type, they kind of need to lead with it to avoid getting Parish Trap immediately. And Incineroar tends to run a lot of speed because Incineroar is going to be able to outspeed opposing Incineroar, who would normally be able to switch out of the Parish Trap because Shadow Type's keeping it in, by using their own Parting Shot. Parting Shot is a sound-based move that will lower the opponent's attack and special attack and then switch out Incineroar. But if you throat chop the opposing Incineroar before they can go for that, then they're not going to be able to go for the Parting Shot, and you trap them in basically until they drop. You then alternate your protects, your substitutes, you make some smart switches, you Parting Shot at the right times, and your opponents just drop before they can even get a hit in. Yeah, Parish is in a very good spot in this metagame right now, as there's limited ghost types, there's limited Pokemon with pivoting moves, and it's just a very strong archetype. You could even make the case to say that Gengar, Incineroar, Parish stuff might be the best team in the format once people figure out how to optimize it, or if a great player comes around and makes it like their whole personality, kind of. Like, if you are a Parish player and you grind out Parish games, I genuinely think that you can just sweep tournaments if you try hard enough. But there are, of course, teams with really good matchups into Parish, teams that have their own Mega Gengar, don't really care about Parish, teams that have Soundproof on their Pokemon, teams that have many pivoting options, teams that have fast Taunt and Tailwind. There's a lot of ways around it, but as of right now, most teams just don't have the tools to deal with Parish like we would in other metagames. Right now, it's very limited. That being said, there's a limited amount of tools in this game, period, so a lot of archetypes just seem stronger. A lot of people say that Mega Charizard Y is the best Mega in the format, and that's not because Mega Charizard Y is the most broken Pokemon ever made, but because when you pair Charizard and Venusaur and the lack of tools that we have in this metagame against that sort of thing, it can get a little bit difficult to deal with. I'd say a good example would be take a look at if anyone played the ladder, like the fake Regulation H or the fake Champions ladder before it came out. A lot of people were running Sneasler and Mega Meowstic. Now, people thought that Mega Meowstic was going to have Psychic Surge, and Sneasler would be able to run a Psychic Seed and just pair with that. That combination of Pokemon in that metagame was very oppressive because we didn't have a lot of tools to deal with it. Sneasler just covered for a lot of the weaknesses that Mega Meowstic had, and it was able to just make it a really strong archetype. That's kind of how a lot of archetypes feel right now, where we just don't have the tools to effectively deal with them on every single team you make. So you have to be really careful and like plan out your matchups into these things specifically. Like, my matchup into Sun a lot of the time is throwing the Akaberry on my Sinnoh Shot and making sure I can Trick Room in front of the opposing Charizard. But that comes at the expense of, like, now my Sinnoh Shot isn't able to take the Shadow Ball for Mega Gengar, so that matchup might be a little bit more difficult. It is kind of hard to build a team that has a good matchup into literally everything in this metagame, but as far as I'm concerned, this is one of the better balanced metagames we've ever had. I don't think anything is super definitively broken right now, and I'm excited for the future. That's just my thoughts on the early meta of Pokemon Champions. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Just wanted to make this video. We'll probably talk about it every time. We'll probably like just make a coverage video whenever a bunch of tournaments happen, probably at least like once a week. And yeah, if you guys enjoy, leave a like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.